What is up, Light Fam? It is David, your spiritual awakening coach, here to help you through your spiritual awakening. The dark night of the soul and letting go. More specifically, how does the dark night of the soul teach us to let go? Well, stick around and find out. Let go. The dark night of the soul teaches us how to let go because it will not let you out of its grasp of pain and confusion until you actually let go of what no longer serves you. So take inventory of what no longer serves you. Be honest with yourself. You know what no longer serves, but you haven't let it go yet. Why is that? Most likely, your ego has told you that it is a threat to survival to let it go. Now, before we go vilifying the ego, we don't want to vilify the ego. The ego is in charge of our well-being. The ego is in charge of our survival. However, the source from which the ego gets its information may be a bit skewed. What do I mean by that? Well, the ego is probably getting that information from unhealed trauma. Yes. So there's probably some unhealed trauma that is talking to you through the ego, making the ego believe it's a threat to survival if you let go of what no longer serves. So let's say that you have abandonment trauma. Oh, well, if I let this toxic relationship go, I'm going to be alone. That's a threat to survival. Even though it's bad for my mental health, it's distracting me from my peace and actually living my life purpose because I'm distracted with so much toxicity, but it's better than being alone. Is it though? Really? Is it a threat to survival? We start to pick apart, when did you first feel that it was a threat to survival to be alone? This is where you go back in childhood events, do shadow work, or maybe you believe that job that you hate that's giving you all the security, but is also giving you mental health issues, which oftentimes leads to physical health issues. It's a threat to survival to let that go. How am I going to pay my bills? I get it. I'm not telling you to go and turn in your resignation first thing Monday morning. I'm not telling you to go and file for divorce first thing in the morning. Nothing like that. But the way that we heal unhealed trauma, aside from shadow work, guys, I talk about shadow work all the time, but we can start taking baby steps, physical action in the opposite direction of that unhealed trauma. So if there's abandonment trauma, start spending more time alone and showing your ego that it's not a threat to survival to be alone. You want to leave that job that you hate, but you have no idea what you're going to do. Well, have you actually spent the time in spiritual solitude to really think about the vocation that is maybe a heart-led vocation that would fill your heart with joy? Okay, well, how do you monetize that? Maybe you've gotten through some really tough times and there was a certain way that you did it, maybe even a spiritual practice, or you healed an anxious attachment style. Whatever it is, there are a lot of people that are not where you are yet. So maybe you take some baby steps. You start a page on social media and you grow some followers. You give some tips on how to overcome an anxious attachment style or heal codependency or whatever you've been through that you have the experience to teach others how to do. And then people start reaching out to you for your expertise. And then the job that you hate, that your ego said that you needed, can go by the wayside. Remember, your passion is always going to make a way for you if you trust the process and move in the direction of your passion. That's how it works. The dark night of the soul will then let you go if you let go of what's out of alignment with your heart. One more time, the dark night of the soul will let you go when you let go of what's out of alignment with your heart. Now, for all of you people in twin flame separation out there where your DM ran off 10 years ago and you've never heard from him since, and you're saying, oh, my DM is in alignment with my heart. No, he's not. He's in alignment with your unhealed trauma, which is in alignment with your ego. Your heart knows that it is much better for you to let go of what has let go of you. It's much better for you to let go of someone that is clearly showing that they do not value you. So don't get your head and your heart confused, okay? And if that landed for you, and if that was an aha moment for you, then please click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything to do so. And it lets the algorithm know that we're putting empowering information out over here at Lightways. Now, how else does the dark night of the soul teach us to let go? Well, before we get into that, if you need a helping hand getting through the dark night of the soul, check the description below. We can work together one-on-one through Zoom. You can text the number below for a quick discovery call. We'll hop on Zoom and see if we're a good fit to work together. Also, I just finished my 5-week digital course, How to Meditate, Self-Worth Healing, Self-Love Healing, Shadow Work, and Inner Child Healing. You heal those 5 things and your 2.0 version will be coming into your life real quick. I can promise you that. So check the description for that. But how else does the dark night of the soul teach us to let go? Because as soon as you let go, there's a huge sigh of relief, like a massive weight has been lifted from your shoulders. This is how you know that you've been holding on to something way longer than you needed to. The dark night of the soul gives you immediate feedback that you're on the right path, that you did the right thing, you listened to your heart, and you let go of what no longer serves. See, all of that turmoil and chaos in your life is coming from the vibrational dissonance between your heart and your head, what your ego believes you need versus what your heart knows you need. And you will never reach energetic homeostasis, peace, basically, until you listen and trust, yes, trust your heart and let go of what no longer serves. Why would you trust your heart? Because your heart harbors the purest information because it's unfiltered through the ego's nonsense. The feeling, if you trust that feeling, not the words and the language, the words and the language is the ego. It's the mind yapping most of the time. It's the ego trying to interpret and filter what the heart is feeling, which may be a little skewed. But if you sink into that heart, sink into the feeling, what is the feeling telling me? That is the purest form of information because it's unfiltered through the ego and it's coming from your higher self. Obviously, your higher self has your highest good in mind. So trust the feeling in your heart, let go of what no longer serves, and you will be getting out of the dark night of the soul with honors. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Namaste.